Guys, welcome back to the Adult Side channel for another salvage auction analysis. We have a very special car that's going to be crossing the auction block, an Acura NSX. These things are not common to see, whether not wrecked or at salvage auctions. So to get a chance to bid on one of these is a rare occasion. We're going to have that opportunity here a little bit later in the video. First, we need to dive in. We need to see what we can figure out about this car and figure out ultimately what we want to pay for it. We're logging on to IAA. Scroll down till we find this thing. This one is a 1998. It's listed as an open top, just a target top, which is what the majority of the NSXs are. It being a 98 means that it is a NA2 model, which means that it has the slightly larger 3.2 liter motor. As we scroll down, you can see this thing is in Fremont, California. It is listed as a secondary damage as mechanical. I'm kind of curious on that. Most importantly, this is a non-repairable title, which means that most of the people that are going to be in on this are probably going to be parts companies like ourselves here at Leasey Parts. There's a chance there might be a good amount of international bidders, as you've seen on a lot of these. It's listed as an automatic transmission, even though I don't think that's what this is, but we'll figure that out here a little bit later as we scroll through the pictures here. The amount of damage on this car is pretty insane. This side, it doesn't look that awful, but you can see what the other side looks like. Most importantly, on this side, you can see it looks like that fender is in place. That headlight might even be salvageable, and honestly, the front end parts on these cars are just absolutely insane expensive, and I'll explain a little bit later in the video how I know that. Looking at the back, you see another bent wheel. It looks like some damage lower on the headlight. Just look at that windshield, the target top gap. It is just nuts how much it moved this chassis around. Here is the majority of the damage. Whatever they hit was really right on that frame rail on the driver's side, and it was probably like a pole or something like that, and it did a serious amount of damage. To crunch everything that far up is just nuts. And really, the whole front end on this car, there's going to be almost nothing usable besides what we outlined on that passenger side. The wheel, the suspension all on this side, completely trashed. Moving to the back, that wheel right there might be the only one. It's nice to see like aftermarket wheels, but if you don't have a full set of wheels, you're better off just having OEM wheels on the car from a parts perspective. This thing, I mean, look at that front wheel. It's like shaped like spaghetti or something like that. The lip on that back one maybe is salvageable if these are real three-piece wheels. It looks like they are, but it's a little bit hard to tell from these pictures. They look kind of like CCWs. At the back end, it looks like there's a lot of usable parts at the back end, although that bumper right there looks like it has some damage as well, which may or may not have been related to the accident. Like I said earlier, this thing definitely looks like it's a 6-speed car. I don't know why it's listed as an automatic. The tan interior in this looks like it's in good shape. I don't think it's as desirable as the black, but at the same time, good condition parts are good condition parts. So even tan is going to have value as these NSX parts continue to be more and more hard to find, and the desire for them only increases. Another look at the front end again here, just completely mangled. 58,000 miles, which, you know, is pretty low mileage. These cars were always kind of highly regarded as, you know, kind of like supercars. So they weren't like daily driven like some of these other early 90s Japanese era cars. These were kind of always the top dogs, but at the same time, they're Hondas. So you could put some miles on it. There you have the VIN. You can see it's an NA2. Again, front end just completely destroyed. Completely destroyed. It looks like maybe what's left of the lower front bumper. It's kind of hard to tell from that angle. The NSX front bumpers are two pieces. They have an upper and a lower section. Let's go ahead and do a 360 view, see if we see anything different. They did a really good job of getting a lot of pictures of this car. So the exterior view, I don't know that we're gonna really see anything different than we already saw. Go around it once again though. Zoom in on that rear bumper. That rear bumper definitely has some damage to it. Again, not sure if that's from the accident or previous, but it's a little unfortunate because if you had, you know, a full back end worth of parts, you know, that just is nice from a value perspective. Go ahead, take a look inside. The 360 view inside is usually pretty helpful just because you get a bunch of different angles. Again, 6-speed, I don't know why it's listed wrong. Looks like factory head unit and everything. The backrest on that looks maybe a little bit worse, but You know, again, pretty good condition overall. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to copy the VIN here. Let's go ahead and look up the auction history on this car. It is listed as being sold by an insurance company, so I'm going to assume that there is not any auction history, but it always is nice to check. Okay, so that is the same. Again, I don't know why this thing is listed as a 3-liter. It's not a 3. Okay, there it's been updated. 3.2 on that one. They must have just kind of had an error with the first listing, but both of those listings are previous for this particular listing. Nothing new, nothing that stands out. So I think, I don't really know what to put a valuation on this car. They don't pop up that often. With this being non-repairable and having no front end parts, you know, I would like to be able to steal it at, you know, like 15 grand, but I just don't think that that's going to happen. I've had this conversation a lot recently with people in the NSX community, and these cars are just ridiculous value where people are overpaying for them, and a lot of them are getting fixed, which is a good thing, but it's only driving the price up at auction. And the price at auction is what we are about to see, because this thing is about to cross the block. Alrighty, here we go, and the bidding is off and running. This thing started pretty low. I was surprised to see only like an $8,000 pre-bid, but as you would guess, there's a lot of people in here. This thing has high demand, whether it's going to be for fixing or for parts. The title kind of ruins the fixing side of it, but there's maybe plenty of people that would want to do track build or something like that. Again, a lot of these are just being restored because there's a ton of ways to generate content with them on YouTube, on Instagram, tons of marketing, different things for it. Looks like it's slowing down. We're going to jump in on it here. Somebody in Colorado has been very active on this. It is moving slow now. Oh, geez. I'm going to guess I know who this is in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll see how much they want to run this up. Like I said, I was thinking that this would be kind of a good spot to stop on this car. And we're going to keep going. Come on. Come on, close up. I'll take it for that. I think this illustrates what I was saying earlier, though. Here you have 2 parts yards that are going after this car. I think at this price, it's not worth the involvement from anybody else besides someone that's going to be parting this out, and I want one of these cars to part out, so we're going to keep going at this. This is where we're going to start getting uncomfortable. Okay. All right, so just over 20. And you saw it popped up. We were the high bidder at just over 20, but it said if bid. And what that means is that it is on reserve, on approval, something along those lines. We're going to go back over and see if this thing has updated yet. Let's go find it on the IAA app. It's under award pending. And that means that one of 3 things is going to happen here. It has not updated with anything. Let me go back. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes for these things to update. I don't know that I'm going to get the answer very quickly here. Now I'm going to explain to you one of 3 things that's going to happen here. Either they're going to accept the bid, which is the least likely scenario. They are either going to come back with a reserve that they have on it, and we will be the only person that has the opportunity to buy it at that reserve today. The way that IAA works is that if you win the auction, you are given the first chance if the insurance company wants, say they want $25,000 for this car, which wouldn't surprise me at all. We are given the first chance at it. Today, we are the only people that are given that chance at it. If I pass on it, then it will go and be relisted tomorrow at like 4 a.m. or something like that with whatever the buy it now they want to put on it. a lot of the times the buy it now that the auction winner will receive is slightly lower than what they will put it back out onto the market for. Now, the third option is that they just turn down the bid and they don't even give you a buy it now option, but it will still get relisted with a buy it now tomorrow. So we'll give this a couple minutes and then we will check in here, I guess, later in the day tomorrow, and I'll let you know what it comes back with. All right, guys, we're back, and it looks like that option number 3 was the route that the insurance company went on this car. They didn't give us a buy it now. Literally like 30 seconds after I stopped recording, they just, it went away from my buying portal, which means that the insurance company just didn't approve it, and it was relisted with a buy it now of $29,200. Which I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, and I was thinking about making an entire video on this, just how these insurance companies are ruining the auction buying process. And it's really, really frustrating because everything changed during COVID, and prices were just massively, they were increased, and now they're being artificially inflated by these insurance companies. And it's very, very frustrating because years ago, there were plenty of good deals to be had at salvage auction. And then these insurance companies started getting these ridiculous prices for these cars because there were so many people that were active in the auctions, and there was just so much money floating around that these prices got propped up. And then instead of allowing the market to just kind of do its normal fluctuations, more of these cars are run through on reserve in these auctions now. And you see these companies, this is a non-repairable 25-year-old Acura. Now, granted, it's a very special Acura, but at the same time, this insurance company, you literally just watched 2 parts salvage yards bid this thing to $20,000, which is where we thought that is where we can be comfortable, right? These are 2 of the biggest salvage yards in this country for these high performance cars. And then you come in and say, no, I want 50% more than that. It's completely ridiculous. And it's extremely frustrating because it draws out the process. I think that this car is probably going to run at auction at least 1 more time. My personal feeling is probably 2 more times. It's probably ultimately going to sell a little bit above where we bid it. And that's just kind of how the process works. They're going to shoot way high up here. It'll run again, and maybe it does a little higher, maybe it does a little less. They'll come down a couple grand on the buy it now, and it just works its way down. And it takes a month to sell a car that if you just listed a pure sale and let everyone do their thing on it, then you're going to get to where the market value is on it anyway, instead of trying to artificially create a market value on it. And it's frustrating to see this at auction just because it's become more and more prevalent over specifically the last 2 years, pretty much since the big COVID boom, which was like 2021. And yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed that we couldn't get that. It's not to say that we're not going to buy it. We'll have another chance at it, I think, and I'll see what I can do because I want to have one of these as a parts car. But as I alluded to earlier in the video, you're going to get to see some NSX content on the main Scrap Life Garage channel because I have a rebuild project that is going on in the background. I'm not ready to launch it yet, but you're going to see your first little teaser here on the Scrap Life Adult channel, which is why it is massively important that you're subscribed to all of the Scrap Life channel, my side channel, the main Scrap Life Garage channel, and the Scrap Life Lee channel. We're going to be kind of diversifying the content that comes through the shop. We're going to have a lot of just fun, different looks on some of these things, different durations of videos, with the main big projects still going down on the Scrap Life Garage channel. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. As always, I open it up at the end of these videos just to conversation down in the comments. Let me know what you think about that price on the NSX. I thought it was a little bit high anyway, and then insurance came back with a massive number on it, and we're not going to pay that much for it. So, like I said, we'll see if maybe we can make a deal over the next couple weeks, but there's going to be other people that are going to be in on the action for sure, as you saw several different people willing to pay some good money for this particular wrecked NSX. So we'll see what happens with it, and we'll also see what happens with other cars running across the auction block for more of these salvage auction analysis videos. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next video.